This week's AEW Grand Slam live from Mexico City with some features from CMLL joining the group. Great, decent show. Not the greatest build-up towards All In, but they are getting there little by little. Some people are becoming impatient about it, but you know what? I don't know what to tell you. Just enjoy the show, I guess. I don't know. But they had a great show. Some of the matches were great. Some great showing by CMLL, and I highly advise you guys to watch this show if you haven't. It's a good showing, and we're only, I guess, 3 weeks or so away from August 30th. I don't know, math. It is what it is. But we're very close from All In London. But anyway, welcome to the Tea Drop, where the brew is strong and there's lots to talk about. AEW Grand Slam Mexico just went down, and Arena Mexico did not come to play nicely. We had blood. We had returning villains. Not mustache villains, but just returning villains. We had a championship change also throughout the night. We had a new tournament launched. And we may have witnessed the beginning of several major matches for All In London. So let's get into it. The main event for Grand Slam Mexico was Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis in a Mexico City street fight. You guys, if anyone complains about WWE doing street fights with the city name in front of it, and you guys think it's something different, well, AEW does the same shit. My God, when they did an NXT show last year in New York City, and they said New York City street fight, I was yelling in Madison Square Garden or whatever that theater was next to it. I was yelling, where's the hot dog stands? Why aren't they using hot dog stands for throwing hot dogs at the wrestlers? Anyway, they had a Mexican City street fight. This was announced as Ospreay's opportunity to collect the receipt after Davis attacked him in a previous week in Collision. There would be no outside interference, no excuses, just two men selling their problems inside one of wrestling's most historic buildings, Arena Mexico. And it got violent very quickly. Barbed wire, steel chairs. And I promise, I'm not making this up, an actual tire was used as a weapon. No cap. It really happened. At least this is a one-up I can give AEW when it comes to street fight theme based on the city they visited. They at least used something different. Anyway, I don't know. It's different. I mean, it's not tied to Mexican culture, but still. Something different except the typical wrestling arena weapons. This wasn't the type of street fight where someone uses one chair and the commentary team spends the rest of the match calling it barbaric. Ospreay and Davis used the stipulation. The match felt personal, and it felt like Ospreay wanted revenge and not simply another victory for his record. He was also fuming with anger after the whole thing with Kenny Omega and all that situation, so I'm sure that didn't help this situation, making him more enraged. In the end, though, Ospreay connected with the hidden blade and survived the Mexican City street fight. Survived is the correct word because neither man walked away looking like he had experienced a normal wrestling match. Ospreay won, but Mark Davis made him pay for it. Anyway, that should matter moving forward because a street fight is supposed to end a rivalry or permanently change it. After everything these two did to each other, AEW shouldn't treat this as another result that disappears from the conversation next week. As violent as the main event was, the biggest story of the night may have been the return of MJF. Andrade El Idolo defeated Commander and Tommaso Ciampa in a triple threat match. The victory secured Andrade the number 1 entry position in the All In Casino Gauntlet match in London. He should have been able to celebrate one of the most important victories of his career run besides winning the National Wrestling Championship. But instead of that, we get MJF appearing out of nowhere. He rolls in, he attacks Andrade with the Triple B Championship in the Diamond Ring. He first hits him with the Triple B Championship. And if anyone doesn't know what the Triple B Championship means, it's the Big Burgundy Belt is the name. Let me make sure before someone corrects me in the comments. And I don't mean you, Chef Maku. I mean someone in the clip comments because they'll be all snarky about it. But anyway, Triple A, I think is the Big Burgundy Belt. The Big Burberry Belt. The Big Burberry Belt, which is the custom design belt of MJF. Anyway, back to this. So he attacks him with the big Burnbury belt, and then attacks him with his diamond ring, and he took it back from Andrade and used it to add even more damage before leaving. Andrade started bleeding. The attack did 3 things immediately. First, it reintroduced MJF as a major angry threat. Second, it gave Andrade a personal reason to want revenge. Third, it connected both men directly to the Casino Gauntlet and the World Championship picture. MJF's plan is to secure the number 2 Gauntlet position on next week's Dynamite this coming week. That would place Andrade MJF in the first 2 spots at the Casino Royale match in All In London. And MJF is already declaring himself the true World Champion on his way into the match. That is what makes this more than a random return attack. MJF didn't come back simply to generate a surprise pop. He returned with a target, a championship claim, and a plan. He wants the 2nd position. He wants Andrade, and he wants everyone to acknowledge him as the real champion. Now, if MJF gets that second spot, AEW will have an easy story ready for the beginning of the Casino Gauntlet. Andrade and MJF won't be waiting for their number to be called. They will start the match together. The bell rings, and the 2 people with the freshest personal issue immediately have to fight. It's probably the easiest and most simple way to do a wrestling storytelling, but it's effective. But the question is whether MJF is returning as the man who will actually win the championship, or as the chaos agent who will destroy someone else's opportunity. We also have, besides this match, and do I have the picture for it? Yeah, here we go. We also have new AEW World Trios Champions between Hangman Adam Page, who joined forces with Brodito and Bandido and Brody King. Well, Brodito, which is Bandido and Brody King. That's their tag team name. It's so weird. But anyway, to challenge the Demand. The Demand is comprised of Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona, defending against 3 very different wrestlers. Now, Hangman brought the main event experience. Bandido brings the speed and explosive offensive that he always does, and Brody King brings the ability to run through almost everyone standing in front of him. Now, that combination was enough to end the Demand's championship reign, and we have new champions, because unfortunately, when it comes to the Hangman, he can't challenge for the belt for the foreseeable future. But Hangman was able to connect with the Buckshot Lariat to steal the victory. Hangman Page, Bandido, and Brody King are now your AEW World Trio Champions. This is an unusual championship team on paper, but that might work in their favor. AEW's trio division has often struggled when teams feel interchangeable or are thrown together without a larger story. These 3 already have distinct identities. If AEW gives them meaningful challengers, this could freshen up a division that needs direction. Now, that's pretty much it for that. We need to talk about the atmosphere inside Arena Mexico. I mean, I don't have a picture of it. I guess I'll have to put in the clip. Every time AEW enters the building, the crowd sounds like a football riot. And when I mean football riot, I mean a soccer riot for some of you. Tony Schiavone said on commentary that the building was so loud you couldn't hear yourselves think. The commentary wasn't exaggerating at all like they usually do. You could hear the difference through the broadcast. Every major move felt important, every near fall felt more dramatic, and every entrance felt like an event. So here's probably one of the first debate questions that you'll probably hear from this video. Is Mexico City providing an atmosphere that weekly episodes of Dynamite and Collision simply cannot reproduce? You can even say that same thing with or are we falling into the same trap wrestling fans have fallen into before, crediting the crowd with fixing problems that still exist within the show? Now, a loud audience can elevate a good match. It can turn an average segment into something memorable. It can also temporarily hide pacing issues, for the most part, underdeveloped characters, and matches that were announced without enough story. 15,000 people screaming can make almost anything feel important for a few minutes. But once AEW returns to its normal weekly buildings, the volume will drop. Then the current creative has to carry the show again. Now, when it comes to me, Mexico City doesn't prove that AEW's weekly product is suddenly fit. It exposes how flat some of the recent go-home shows have felt by comparison. And I'm not doing this as a jab to AEW. It's the same crap that happens in WWE. It isn't a criticism of the wrestlers. The talent is still taking the same risk and delivering the same athletic performances. The difference is the emotional response surrounding them, which AEW needs to determine how to create that same sense of urgency without needing to leave the country. The company cannot manufacture the exact culture of Arena Mexico, but it can give audiences stronger reasons to react, which means provide stronger connections to stories that people will probably want to eventually invest on when it comes to All In. Because at the end of the day, we still got to pay for All In. We still got to pay that 40 or 50 or whatever dollars you have to pay depending which thing you have. We need more clearly defined rivalries, more consequences, more characters chasing things that are important to them, and fewer matches that exist only because they might be good. The Mexico City crowd didn't create the stories. It rewarded the stories that gave it something to care about. That is the lesson AEW should take home when it comes to Grand Slam Mexico. In fact, they should have taken it since last year when they did it the first time, but whatever. AEW also officially launched, in addition to this, another thing that happened on the show, AEW launched the All Elite Wrestling Continental Challenge Cup. They're going to have 16 men, single elimination, and we can read how this tournament works because it's different from the ones in the past. They're going to have no outside interference and no time limits. 16 wrestlers compete in 4 blind draw matches. The 4 winners move on to semifinals in Glasgow, Scotland on August 26th, which is, that's going to be, I believe, a Collision, or maybe it will be a Dynamite. And then the Cup final takes place at Wembley Stadium at All In London on August 30th. Winner of the final will receive the Continental Cup and will be the new AEW Continental Champion, which, I'll be honest, feels kind of weird saying that, because isn't the current champion someone else? Who's the current? John Moxley is the current Continental Champion. So the winner will get the belt. Why doesn't that mean that John Moxley is just waiting at the end of the tunnel? John Moxley should be waiting at the end of this championship. Yeah, it just feels weird that unless they put him at the end of the bracket. Let's see if this are the 16 wrestlers including John Moxley. The answer is no. Answer is yes. Look, he's here. So basically, as soon as this tournament begins, John Moxley's belt is taken away from him. Yeah, I agree with you, Chef Marco. The winner should face Moxley, but he's not. He's competing in himself. So let's talk about the 16 competitors. We have the current Continental Champ, who will be giving up the belt at the beginning of this, John Moxley. Then we have Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, Nigel McGuinness, weird, Katsuri Shibata, David Finlay, great, Ace Austin, Jay White, Matt Seidel, Jungle Jack Perry, Jake Doyle, Eddie Kingston, Claudio Castagnoli, Hechicero, and Brian Cage. Decent lineup. I can't go wrong with this. This is probably going to have some good banger matches. I just feel weird that John Moxley is not the one defending it at the end of this, but whatever. That's AEW, their choice. We'll see how it works out. It just doesn't make logical sense to me, but hey, what do I know? This is a great way. When the company, and what I mean by that, when the company needs several weeks of television, they create this. On one hand, this guarantees meaningful matches with we're going to have clear winners and losers when it comes to this. But on the other hand, tournaments can start feeling like a schedule device instead of a real story. Because how many tournaments we have so far? We have this, and then we had the Owen Hart Cup. Crazy. I just feel like we're doing this as just filler to justify television time between now and London. But hey, I believe the championship makes this tournament different. But anyway, the winner isn't receiving only a trophy, they're receiving a symbolic achievement. The winner leaves All In with the AEW Continental Championship. So I guess now the Continental Championship is not really a championship. It's similar to the Owen Hart. You get that belt, it's just commemorative. But as soon as the next tournament, you're just the 2026 champ. That doesn't mean you're the champ forever. So let's be clear. The winner gets a trophy and becomes the 2026 Continental Challenge champion. I think that's the best way to resolve this. Not the greatest, honestly. Just give them the trophy. Don't give them a belt. You don't need to give them a belt then. Anyway, hopefully AEW creates clear victory feelings when it comes to these matches, because if not, this is going to just feel weird. Anyway, if someone wins in the first round, shows us what the victory means. If an underdog advances, let the audience follow that momentum as well. There's ways to build up this tournament, make it feel meaningful. If a favorite gets eliminated, make the loss hurt. I don't think anyone will care if Jon Moxley loses, to be honest. Will people actually be hurt? I feel people will be more hurt if, like, Orange Cassidy loses, or Jungle Jack Perry, I think. Anyway, but if we get two rivals are moving towards each other on opposite sides of the bracket, we should be building that tension every week. Like, I don't know where David Finlay and Jay White going to be, but if they're going to be in opposite ends of the bracket, that's a great way to build momentum. In fact, why do I feel the finals of this cup is going to be Jay White versus David Finlay? It just feels like that, doesn't it? Just don't give a match this handshake kind of deal and advance to the next round kind of situation. It should just, every moment should feel big if you want to make this important. Otherwise, people are not going to care next time. If not, it just becomes background noise as a tournament. Anyway, we can see how the bracket is, and we can see what potentially the story is going to be. I thought this was going to be it, but it's not. But it shouldn't be just one person's story. It should be multiple stories happening at once, and maybe the results of some of these stories become a bigger story for All In independently. But anyway, the final major development when it came to All In Mexico, Grand Slam Mexico, was Darby Allin. Darby has officially set his sights on All In London. He has challenged TNT champion the Jet Kevin Knight on a Falls Count Anywhere match for the championship. Man, how things have fallen. He was AEW champion. Now he's going back for the TNT championship. Oh man. Anyway, this challenge isn't coming out of nowhere, guys, because Darby pinned Knight during the trios match at Grand Slam Mexico, and it gives Darby a legitimate claim. But let's not forget, Knight also attacked Darby Allin at the end of Double or Nothing while he lost against MJF. He defeated the champion in the past. Now he wants the title. So he then adds the Falls Count Anywhere with Darby Allin and you know Darby Allin, he's not going to be a wait and see situation. You already know what type of match he wants, and that's the Falls Count Anywhere. And think about the creative planning that they're doing. He tears the conversation and starts searching the building during the event for the highest possible object to jump from. When it comes to this event, he's going to jump anywhere. You know Darby Allin, he's just going to go crazy. So that stipulation comes probably with a guarantee stretcher waiting for both of these men, or maybe one of them at the end of the match. So Kevin Knight athleticism is going to make this matchup even more dangerous, because if AEW confirms this match, it won't be built around technical wrestling. It will be built around which man is willing to take the bigger damn risk, and whether either of them can walk away afterwards too. So anyway, this is the tea coming from Mexico City, and pretty much it sums up what AEW happened this past week. Will Ospreay survived the war with Mark Davis. MJF is officially a problem again, as always, and is targeting Andrade and the World Championship picture again. Hangman Page, Bandido, and Brody King are your new AEW Trios Champion. The Continental Challenge Cup is sending 16 wrestlers down a single elimination road to All In, and Darby Allin is already attempting to schedule his bloodbath. Now I want to hear from you guys. Is the Arena Mexico atmosphere proof that AEW needs to improve the energy of its weekly television, or is the Mexico City crowd receiving too much credit? Do you believe the Continental Challenge Cup will become a meaningful story, or just another tournament? And is MJF heading to All In as the Nets' future world champion threat, or as the chaos agent who ruined somebody else's moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, if the tea hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.